Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Affluent Woman CEO Summit. I'm your host, Cheryl J. Moses. And today we have a very special guest with us. She is the money expert. Her name is Karyn Buggs. And we're going to be talking about how you are more than enough when it comes to you stepping into the leader that you were called to be. So, Karyn, thank you for being here, first of all.
Thank you, Cheryl, for having me. I'm so excited to dive into this topic. It's just like I'm bursting because I have so much to say.
I'm sure you do. I know it's going to be a good conversation. So, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you, what you do, who you help, all the good things?
Perfect. Thank you. So I am Karyn Buggs. I'm on a lot of socials as Karyn Jeneen. So I love that Cheryl and I share that same middle name. It just has this bond and this synergy to it.
Yeah.
As she said, I am the money expert. So I love numbers. I love everything about just digging into numbers. And so in this day, my mission is to help women entrepreneurs to scale beyond seven figures with ease. And the way that I help them to do that is by, guess what? Digging into the numbers, helping them to understand the every line on their financial statement and how it impacts their business and how they can drill down deeper into that line item to make more insightful business decisions. So I'm on a mission because as statistics show, women are the fastest growing entrepreneurs, but we're still the least paid, even when it comes to entrepreneurship. We still have lack of access to capital. So there's still some money things that we have to work through in society. And I want to be on the front end of helping all of my women entrepreneurs to be able to make that happen for them.
Oh, love that. So, Karyn, I want to start this off by asking you, what was your pivotal moment of really discovering that you were more than enough? Because I know it took me a long time. So, but I want to hear your story behind how you discovered that for yourself and that nothing was going to shake you.
I don't know if it came from my childhood, maybe just like the love that we had in our family. I always say I don't have this rags to riches, this, bad to good kind of story. I just have a story that I remember about being in a household full of love and just feeling like I was different, right? So I'm the middle child of, I have an older sister and a younger brother, and I never had that middle child syndrome. People always say, that middle child syndrome, like they're off the chain, or they
Mm-hmm.
have this feeling like they never felt like they belong.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. So I was a middle child. We grew up in a typical urban area, but I wasn't allowed to go to this might be our moment. This might be my moment that I'm talking through in real time with you all. Uh,
Mm.
I was not allowed to go to the local school district. I tested in at sixth grade. We had what we called um, a special school where it focused on math and science, a magnet school. That's what we called it back then. It was a magnet school. And at that time, you had to test to get into the school. So just everybody couldn't go. The
Right.
school was very small. Our class was the second graduating class. So I started in sixth grade there. So we were kind of like the second cohort is what we would call them now, to go through this new way of education in our area. And so our focus in that school was math and science. My parents didn't want me to go to the local school where, everybody else went, and my sister went, and she was kind of like that. She was the rebel, right? And it's interesting because the mascot for our school district, or for that school district, was a rebel, and my sister fit every syllable or every letter of that. And I guess my parents just didn't want me to experience that. And so from that perspective, like I was set apart, right? I don't know what it was that my parents saw in me, or maybe they just wanted different, where they said, no, you're going to go here. Like it wasn't even an option to go to the, to the local schools. As soon as this opportunity came about, they jumped on it. And from 6th through 12th, I attended this school from 6th through 12th grade. It meant that I had to catch the local transportation, a bus to school every day. There were very few people in the neighborhood that went. So our school was made up of a lot of different people from a lot of different urban, neighborhoods. So we really became a close-knit family. Graduated one of 49. So you see how like small that class was. But if I had to attribute anything to really knowing that I was enough and that I was different, I would say that would be that moment, and just realizing that, yeah, you can't do what the other neighborhood people do. We don't expect that from you. So
yeah, I think, yeah, for me, I think I was a lot older when when I discovered my moment, maybe in my 30s even, just going through so much in my life. But yeah, it's like we have these pivotal moments, and I think we need to really reflect on those things, because it kind of like determines where we're going to go. It's kind of like our guiding light to what's going to happen next, what level we're going to go to next. And so now you're in a space where you're helping women and you're teaching them how to keep their money, not just make the money, but how to keep their money. So let's talk about that.
So my relationship with money, which we all have one, right? We all have money stories. We all have our own relationship with money. And I don't remember our family having specific conversations about money, about budgeting and what it means. I didn't feel like we were poor, and I also didn't feel like we were like rich or wealthy. I felt like we had, like, our house was that house that you had enough. Most of my cousins came to live there. And it never seemed like we ran out of food. So the experiences with money that I had at an early age was from observation. I did a lot of observation, and I still do a lot of observation. I tell people, as much as I talk, I hear more than I say. So imagine that, right? I'm listening more than I'm talking, or I'm observing just my environment. And usually within seconds, I can make a judgment. I can, make an assessment and kind of go from there. But being able to recognize these experiences with money actually had a negative impact on me. And it came from the men that I observed, right? The men in my family, and I love every single one of them dearly. So if they ever watch this interview, just know that it is not a personal attack. It is simply an observation of how I learned or recognized that I shaped my money relationship. So there was this thing that, I come from the era that men take care of the family. No question about it. Men, pays the bills. If the woman works, it's her money. But from that, like, the women weren't treated with like this high level of dignity. Like, they weren't all treated like horribly, but some of the men had extra women, extra families, or, just did things that did not make the woman like a priority. So I'll just categorize it as a womanizer, because that's what I would say. Like, if these were people that I had no relationship with, that's how I would describe it. So I'm not going to hold any punches, because these are men in my family that I love dearly. They were, womanizers. And it was kind of that, as long as he takes care of the house, like, you can just kind of let him do what he, let him do what he wanted to do. And just observing that, it just felt wrong. I knew that I didn't want to experience that. And I felt like the women in my family whom I love dearly should not have to experience it either. There was a lot of singleness, right? Not a lot of marriage, but a lot of singleness in our families. We were single women with children, sometimes multiple children and multiple fathers. And again, this thing with money, having to take them to child support and hearing conversations about, the man not taking care of the child financially. And it shaped my belief that there was this stigma of, if you had money, then you had power. If you didn't have money, then you don't have power. And the person that holds the money can make the person who doesn't have money feel powerless. I hated it. Still hate it to this day. So what that did for me when it came to money is, absolutely, I knew how to make it. I can tell you, you tell me an idea and I can tell you how to monetize it. I'll have you a name, I'll have you an LLC, EIN, bank account, all of that. Like, we're going to monetize that thing. But when the money came in, I would have no problem with sending it right back out, because I didn't want to be associated with money having power over me to look at another person who may not have had money as being less than. So my relationship was one that I called reckless. It was reckless. Like, if somebody asks, and I would get asked this question, you get asked this question all the time, what would you do if you had $1 million? And everybody that knows me knows, oh, Karyn's probably going to give it away. Yeah. And they're right. I'm going to give most of it away, not necessarily out of generosity. The deeper thing is because I didn't want the money to change who I was. I didn't want the money I didn't want other people to view, oh, she has money, so she's different, or she's going to look down on me. I didn't want to be associated with the narrative that I had created around money. So what's the best way to not be associated with it? Get rid of it.
Give it away.
Give it away.
Give it away.
Give it away.
Wow.
So the work that I do, right, is a lot of it is how to make it, how to manage it, how to multiply it, how to be comfortable with it. But at the core, what I really want to do is to disconnect our value and our worth to money. I want to increase your financial confidence so that you know that you can live no matter what's in your bank account. You deserve to live the life that you want, regardless of what your bank account says. And so, again, at the core of the work that I'm doing, I'm kind of speaking soul to say, sis, you worth it. Yeah. I don't care what's in your bank account. It can be negative. You're worth it. You deserve it, and you can have it, and you will have it.
Yeah, I can honestly say that I've had a lot of conversations with women who are looking at the past mistakes that they made with money. They don't want to charge more because I don't know if they feel like they're not worthy enough to charge more, or nobody's buying it at that price, so let me kind of lower the price. It's all these issues around money that come up, even internalizing the fact that they're not making more money if they set a goal for themselves. Oh, I want to make $500,000 in the next 6 months. If that doesn't happen, then it's like, what's wrong with me? And it's just so many different things and issues around money. Do you think it's hard for women to have this money conversation? And do you think that really that these experiences that people are having when it comes to money are because of past issues or past traumas around, because you spoke about childhood things. So do you think it comes from that?
So here's some hard truths.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just not we don't want to hear the conversation. We'll hear, we don't want to acknowledge it. Like we'll hear it and we'll internalize it and say, you know what, she's right. But we won't openly have the conversations about it. There's a statistic that shows that 61% of women would rather talk about their own death than talk about money.
Mm.
So when you say, do we want to have the conversations? No, we don't. Is it from childhood and our past experiences? Some of it, absolutely. But even in our current society, society does a good job of steering and shaping how we should view money, right? Because I remember there was a time where I wouldn't even want to jump on camera if I didn't have a full set of, a face. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I couldn't jump on camera. I don't have the right things to wear. And I've seen some men like, oh, he just looked like he just turned the camera on and started talking. There's this underlying current that we expect how a person should look, how a woman should look when she shows up to give us information, how she should show her material things to validate what she's saying, and that she should have this certain status or aura about her before I would even listen. So while I think some of it does come from our history and our past, there's a lot that other people or other women bring from their past into our present, and it still affects how we will show up, how we will ask for what we want, how we will feel about give or asking for what we want or charging what we want, or even how we just show up to give the value that we know that we have. So I think in addition to having the conversations about what are your own childhood traumas and money stories, and what is that, what does that look like, and how does that contribute to your lack of asking for what you want or asking for what you know you deserve, sometimes even asking to pay an invoice, right? For me, I still have challenges, right? Because once you acknowledge these things, it doesn't mean that they're automatically going to go away. Right. It just means that you're now aware and you can work through them when they happen in real time. But sometimes I still struggle with asking for money that people may owe me. I had a trip with one of my best girlfriends, and we were going to split the hotel bill. I put it on my credit card, and she asked me, what was her half? Oh, I'll get it to you. It may have been 2-3 weeks later. She said, I still don't remember you saying how much it was. And I was like, oh, I'll get it to you. She made me stop. No, I need it. I told you that I would, that was our agreement that I was going to, pay half. So I need to know. But again, for me, asking for that, again, it's just like, don't worry about it. I'll help. I'll take care of it. Whether I have the financial means to be able to handle that burden is not is not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, well, I don't want to feel like, you got to pay me for something. It's still that whole thing of that money issue and me rejecting money because of my past experiences. And so I think that while we shouldn't ignore our past experiences, we also can't ignore how those around us and how society and those bright, shiny objects make us feel about how we should show up if we have money or if we don't. Well, I don't want to listen to you. Have you made 6 figures before? I don't want to listen to you. You have red bottoms? I don't want to listen to you. You have a house? I don't want to. We have all of these rules around why what a person may have to share isn't valuable based off of all of these external factors.
That's funny you say that, because I was on Facebook and I saw this whole thread about people not, well, their opinion, I should say, on listening to people who don't make more money than them. And it was a long conversation, on this thread. I want to know your opinion on that. Like, if you're aiming to get to a certain level, are you going to listen to somebody who's not beyond that level?
So here's a hard truth, and I really believe in just like, I don't hold no punches.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know what's in my bank account? Do I sit down and discuss my finances with you?
That's true.
And do you know that marketing does what marketing does?
Yep.
So are you asking that someone markets to you that they have earned 6 or 7 or 8 figures and you have no clue? Do you know that there are car lots that you can go to and take a picture of Rolls Royce, all of these different cars? Airbnb is on the rise, short-term rentals. I can go anywhere and put together a picture of what my life may look like based on the marketing, and you don't know.
That's right.
So the question is, why do you feel that you need to see those things or even hear or know those things before you even open up your mind to hear what it is that they have to say? Because guess what? You don't have to do anything that they suggest. But because a person does not validate or is not running around saying, I make 6 figures, I make 7 figures, I make 8 figures, and here's what I've done with it, and here's all of the receipts that I have to prove to you that I don't have anything to say. I just remember stories from my favorite book where a ram was talking in a bush, where a 12-year-old killed a giant, where a a woman or a prostitute was bringing people to the leader. Like, all of these people, they weren't highfalutin, right? And they weren't high status. So sometimes I think we have to ask ourselves, why do I have a problem with listening to what someone has to say? Because of me thinking that they don't have 6 or 7 figures, or they don't have this 7 figures. Are there scammers? Absolutely. But I believe the scammers are the ones that will tell you they have it, but don't. They will scream that they have it, but don't.
I agree with that.
People who have money generally don't talk about it.
Yep. Facts.
So understanding how people move and just like, human behavior, I think is really important, but also understanding why you have your own internal biases. Yeah, let me get some water.
Okay. That's powerful. That's powerful. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting conversation. And like you said, you don't know. You have no idea what that person has in their bank account. Their bank account. And you might love what they're saying in their marketing, but you're going to base it on their bank account that they can't help you? Listen.
That's always an interesting conversation.
It is. It is.
Because here's the final thought about that.
Yeah.
When we go to banks, sometimes when you go to banks to ask for money, to ask them to lend you money, the people that you're asking, do you think they make 6 or 7 figures, or do you think they have the information to help you get what you need?
That's a good point. Yeah. Excellent point.
You want the information to get you what you need, or do you want you, or do you want the validation to make you feel good about getting what you need?
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah, something to think about.
definitely something to think about. It's for me, it's always excuse me, going inward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and when I talk about being more than enough,
Mm-hmm.
just standing in that and knowing that you are more than enough without all of the external validation, without tying yourself to money and things. Just because you exist, you
Yes.
are more than enough. Your
Yeah.
existence qualifies you,
Yeah.
not your economic status, not
Right.
your bank account, not because somebody else says, like, nobody else, if nobody else tells you that you are validated or that you are enough, doesn't mean that you aren't enough. You're still enough. What you have is still enough. What
Mhm.
you want, you deserve. And what you have is still enough to get it. It's still enough.
Yeah.
You don't need to keep seeking more unless you're going to go and peel back the layers of the more that's holding you back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that could be a real issue for some of us too, because it seems like we're always seeking more because we're not satisfied. And then you have the validation that comes up. Oh, and the approval addiction. That's a whole other thing, wanting approval. And I think we can get all the guidance in the world, but if we don't feel like we're deserving or that we're enough, then how are we going to get to any level of success that we want? I mean, I just can't really see that it happens without us actually knowing, not necessarily believing, but just knowing that this is what we're meant to have. All the abundance out here, like we're meant for this.
We are.
So yeah, it's really powerful and it can get really deep.
It absolutely can.
Mhm.
And it gets deep the more you are willing to get to know you.
Yeah.
I call that, like, and I use this phrase a lot in business, going deeper and not wider, right?
Mhm.
So you've been going deeper within yourself to understand your own nuances, to understand your own insecurities, your own strengths, instead of going wider looking for that more. If you want more, go within. What more do I need to unleash? Because it's there. What
Mhm.
more do I need to unleash within me to believe that what I'm seeking, I deserve and I will have? So, what is that more? Not marketing, right? Not
Right.
not more friends, but what is it the more that I need from to unleash within myself in order to lead myself where I need to go? Because it's already there.
Already there.
It's are you more than enough.
Oh, Karyn, this is so delightful. I just love when you talk.
Yeah.
I love to hear you talk because you just bring so much truth to everything that you speak on, and you really make us think
Yeah.
like we need to be thinking, especially about ourselves, not just what's outside of ourselves, but really what's inside of ourselves. So I thank you for that wisdom.
Thank you. One
Yeah.
of the things that just came to mind was like purpose.
Mhm.
And understanding what your role or purpose or assignment is. And sometimes, like, I've got this bottle here, right?
Mhm.
Um, this bottle has a purpose to hold some liquid,
Yeah.
and they market it to, sell it for somebody to consume it. But the purpose of this bottle is to hold the liquid, and it's not going to change, right? It's a vitamin water, right? And so this bottle was designed to hold vitamin. It was designed to hold vitamin water. Right now, I got regular water in there, but it doesn't take away the fact that the manufacturer of this bottle designed this bottle to hold vitamin water.
Mhm.
So your creator, your manufacturer designed you for a purpose.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what somebody else says that should be inside of you. It doesn't matter what somebody else says. Oh, this isn't the right kind of bottle, or I would prefer if this was in some other kind of bottle. The manufacturer has already set the design. The manufacturer has already set your purpose in place.
Mhm.
And so it exists already. You exist. You're here. Your purpose and your gift is already designed for greatness. Nobody can change that.
Right.
But you were created that way. The manufacturer made you that way. And that was enough. So when we look for validation outward, and when we look for validation or approval in other places, and when we allow other things to shape and change what our manufacturer and what the creator has already created, we're changing a design. We're doing a design change. And if you know anything about design, right? When you have a design change, you got to submit new blueprints.
Mm.
Got to submit a new design. This bottle has already probably been trademarked. If the design changes, you got to submit approval to change the design.
Mm.
Unless somebody's getting approval to change the design for you, it's not going to happen.
It's not.
It's not happening. So that's why I like going inward, because usually it starts with me.
Yeah.
It starts with me. I am the second in command because I didn't create me. I didn't manufacture me, but I'm the best me to do me. And so
Mhm.
I'm the second in command who knows me very well. And if it didn't come from the creator or the manufacturer, I get a chance to say, no, I don't want that design change. No, I don't need that approval because I already know what my assignment is. I already know what my purpose is. And I already got enough. And when I need to get more, right? In order to get more in this bottle, I've got to empty out what's already here.
Mm.
When I need more, that means I'm empty or something has been depleted. And the more doesn't come from somebody other than the manufacturer.
That's right.
So when I say you are the more that you have been looking for, I truly mean that. You are the more that you have been looking for.
Well said. So good. So, Karen, can you tell us what you have for our attendees?
So for the attendees, I will offer, and I do a lot of, some people might call this motivation speaking, but I like to call it transformational speaking, right? Because I don't want to just motivate you to, to do something. I want to transform your mind. I want to set you in action from something that may have been holding you back. And
Mhm.
so what I offer the attendees is a consultation, a complimentary consultation to get on the phone with me and to talk through something that you need to unlock that next step.
Mhm.
I will create a special link because it's not something that I do. I work with numbers, right? Because most times people don't want to buy transformation in themselves, right?
Mhm.
Um, so I will create a special link just for you all to be able to schedule your consultation. again, to just work through something that has been having you in this space that you can't move to the next. You've been thinking that you need more. And maybe you just, a lot of times we just need a sounding board. We just need an ear. We just need somebody to ask us that right question that make us go, you know what? I never thought about it that way.
Mhm.
I'm willing to do that. So
I thank you for that. Because I know for me, like you just said, I'm one that always tends to need a perspective shift, to lift me up and and pull me up, So I love that you're offering that. Thank you so much. Hey, we're gonna make sure everybody gets that link. And also connect with Karyn. Karyn, tell us where we can connect with you, the platforms you're on mostly.
I am mostly on LinkedIn these days.
Okay.
You can find me at Karyn. I am Karyn with the Y.
Mhm.
That's KarynJeneen on LinkedIn. I am also on Facebook and Instagram. Karyn Jeneen everywhere. If you can't find me at Karyn Jeneen, search Karyn Buggs. But remember, it's Karyn with the Y.
All right, we're gonna connect. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, lady.
Pleasure.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time. And don't forget, tap in with Karyn for her complimentary call. She doesn't do it often, so take her up on it while you can. All right. See you
Bye.
next time. Bye.